What do you get when you take a franchise half a century in the making and give it a little Gen Z touch? You completely undo 50 years of something legendary within 73 minutes. Let's just jump right in, because I've got a lot to say about this.
Wish I was in Texas, prettiest place in the world. Oh no.
I'm just gonna go ahead and jump into the cliff notes because I need to explain why I was rooting for Leatherface this entire movie. A group of social media influencers decided to buy an abandoned town to auction off and change to a trendy, non-violent, heavily gentrified utopia. Yeah, they had the deed to every property except the orphanage where Virginia is at. After Dante threatens to call the cops, Virginia suddenly has a heart attack, and while being transported, she dies. This prompts Leatherface to start massacring everyone in the van. He then peels the face off his grandmother and now has a face mask to start the mayhem. He returns to the orphanage to take out Dante. Melody hides under the bed as Leatherface starts busting down the wall to grab the OG chainsaw from the 70s movies. Richter and Leatherface get into a fight. Leatherface gets the W and kills Richter. Leatherface then gets on the bus and takes out the entire group of investors.
Try anything and you're canceled, bro.
Sally, the original survivor of the first film, is back as a Texas Ranger and is so hell-bent on killing Leatherface once and for all, she uses Melody and Lila as bait as she's more worried about having Leatherface remember her. She's pissy about it, but later ends up at the end of the saw and thrown into a pile of trash, where this movie belongs. As Melody and Lila drive away, Leatherface hurls his chainsaw at the car, which then causes them to crash. As Lila runs away and Melody faces death, Lila screams at Leatherface, "Hey, Leatherfuck!" Whoops, Leatherfuck, and attempts to fire an AR-15, but has no ammo. As Lila is dodging attacks and almost gets killed, Sally comes to and fires a couple shots into Leatherface before passing off the shotgun to Lila and then dying from her injuries. Lila enters an old theater where she gets tricked into thinking Leatherface is hiding behind some tarps, but is quickly thrown into a pool of water. Lila tries to reach for the gun, but Leatherface jumps out of the water like Jason Voorhees and tries to pull her back in. Just when it seems like Leatherface is gonna get some good old revenge, we see Melody on the back of Leatherface riding him like a 25-cent horse at the grocery store. She gets thrown off, almost gets killed by Leatherface, but is shot twice by Lila. Lila then runs out of ammo. Apparently the budget department didn't get enough fucking blanks. But Melody comes in clutch and uppercuts Leatherface with his own chainsaw. At the end, they put in the coordinates to go home, but Leatherface says, "Nah, you're not leaving," which then prompts him to pull Melody out of the car and decapitates her in front of Lila, just before he starts dancing with the head and the car keeps driving into the sunset. It's a stupid fucking plot, I know. Now, here are my main gripes about this movie, and I promised myself that I was not going to be biased, but this being my first ever horror franchise I ever watched, it's by nature that I kinda am. The summary on Netflix makes me feel like I'm stupid. In this sequel, influencers looking to breathe new life into a Texas ghost town encounter Leatherface, an infamous killer who wears a mask of human skin. First of all, how the fuck are influencers gonna breathe new life into a Texas ghost town? Are they gonna start shelling out NFTs of corpses and shit? Second, who doesn't know about Leatherface at this point? The guy's been around for about 30 years, give or take, probably close to 40 or 50 at this point. Like, you mean to tell me that no one knows who the fuck Leatherface is going into this movie? I'm assuming the people watching this movie are already familiar with who Leatherface is. Either you've seen one, a couple, the whole franchise, or hell, even none of them. You should know who Leatherface is just right off rip. He's a big old dumb bastard that wears people's faces as a hydration mask. That's it. Also, this whole anti-gun, anti-violent thing that they're pushing throughout this whole movie, pointless. It's as useful as a car without a goddamn engine in it. Now, personally, I hate politics. I hate all forms of politics. More so when they're brought up in things that don't need to include it. If I wanted my daily dose of politics, I would go seek out something that's political or go on Twitter, because I told these bastards once I'm not interested in politics and they keep feeding me more politics. I don't know. Side rant, you know that Twitter's a shitty place when even the person who developed Twitter regrets making it. There was one part of the movie where Melody sees Richter open carrying a Glock, and let's just say me and Melody had some choice words about the situation.
Who has such a small dick they need to walk around in public with a fucking gun? Like...
Well, who's such a bitch that they have to make a small dick joke? David Blue Garcia, the director of this movie, said he didn't want to make any statements about any political issues. So why did you do it in this movie? You know, I'm not one for trigger warnings, but I feel like I do have to add one in here because of the plot they decided to use with Lila. And that plot being that she's a school shooting survivor. For no reason. He says that he wanted to take a grasp at school shootings in America and the trauma that comes with it. And out of all the plot devices that you could have landed on, you know, like, oh, maybe Lila has some family members that were killed by Leatherface. Or maybe Lila is the secret granddaughter of Sally. You decide to make her a school shooting victim? And to touch on this just a little bit further, Garcia said this about the plot device. I didn't want to comment on Texas in any way, but what was in the script is true. There are guys like that who drive around casually with assault rifles and pistols on their hips. I know them. So the characters in this film might be anti-gun, and for good reason. All of Lila's friends were killed by a gun in a school shooting, and it makes sense that they're anti-gun. But I don't know if they're all anti-gun for very long when there's a homicidal maniac with a chainsaw running after them. That's one of the interesting parts of the movie. She kind of has to use the gun if it's there. So it's very nuanced. It's complicated. If it's so complicated, then why the fuck put it in the movie? And no, she didn't have to use the gun because Melody presumably kills Leatherface with his own damn chainsaw. The guns did fuck all in this movie except not have ammo in them. And besides, you doing this push and pull thing with a topic like this, it's just not helping you, dude. It's really not. You know, aside from a director that's so back and forth that he can't tell his ass from a hole in the ground, the movie's just bloody. Nothing more, nothing less, just gory, you know? And the height of the movie, where we see that Sally is now a Texas Ranger hunting Leatherface. It's just bland. And there's even a continuity error with it because the gas station clerk tells Lila that she's been doing it for 30 to 40 years, but Sally says she's been doing it for 50. So either someone didn't do their fucking homework or someone can't do math properly. Man, my voice is going out, dude. I'm getting so pissed at this. You know, either way, this holds no significance whatsoever until Sally and Leatherface meet face to face and Sally has him exactly where she needs him. And she just pisses it away. Shoot his ass. Shoot him. You have him in your sights. Pull the damn trigger.
Kirk, Pamela, Jerry, and Franklin.
He don't care. He probably doesn't remember. Look how old he is.
Say you know me. Say you know what you did to my friends.
He doesn't talk.
You don't remember me.
No! It's been 50 years! Why would he? He don't give a fuck about you! Now you want to cry about it? You know what? I'm done talking about this movie. You know, Garcia, you said you wanted to make a movie that would make Hooper proud, and you also claim that you just got done watching the first film before shooting this one, and I can guarantee you that you got the gore right, but you fucked up everything else in the process. So this movie's getting chucked into it's really bad. And I would have put it in absolute dog shit if I wasn't laughing at some of the parts. Now, if you're interested in seeing a movie that's way better than this, click the video on screen to go see my review of Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's a breath of fresh air, trust me. I'm your host with the most, going live from overseas to coast blackout, going dark. I will see all of you in the next one. Keep it brutal, keep each other safe. Until next time, later.